Now this is a podcast all about Bears. You either cheering for this team or just pulling your hair. I like to take a minute, just sit right back and tell you how I became the #1 Bears fan.
That boy is Benny Hunter.
Cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic. People, this the intro. Sacramento, California, born and raised. And Antelope is where I spend most of my days. You talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So, Bears fans, the Bears have lost their second game this season, dropping their overall record to 2-2 as they lose to the New York Giants 20-12. And obviously, there was a lot of frustrating things that happened in this football game. Once again, the offense at times looked better. Obviously, when you look at Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney, obviously the connection was better. Darnell Mooney had 4 catches for 94 yards. But overall, the offense just stalled. And that was the tell of the game. Obviously, you get down there, Justin Fields doesn't have time, fumbles, turnover in the red zone. Those are costly, but stalling in the red zone is a difficult thing to swallow. And I understand that the Bears offense is still in a learning curve, but it seems like once the Bears get to the red zone, they have no problem getting to the red zone, it seems like. But once they get to the red zone, the creativity and the play calling is sometimes a bit interesting from Luke Getsy. I feel like at some times when you're watching this Bears offense, it feels like Luke Getsy at the moment is holding this offense and Justin Fields back just a tad bit. Not a lot, but just a tad bit in certain situations. For example, I think it was the Bears' final drive. It was 3rd and 2. There was obviously 8 men in the box, it looked like, and they hand the ball off to Khalil Herbert, and it gets absolutely stuffed. And my question to Luke Getsy there is that the best play call that you have on your play card? I don't think so. There's so many other play calls that he could have called there, but running the ball on 3rd and 2 and a must-have 3rd down conversion, and you run the ball when there's 8 men in the box is not really the ideal play call in that situation. Another thing that killed the Chicago Bears offense today is 6 sacks given up by this Bears offensive line. It was absolutely a horrendous day for the Chicago Bears offensive line, giving up 6 sacks. Obviously, Cody Whitehair went out with an injury, and once again, having to shuffle the offensive line is obviously not a good thing. So obviously they have to get that figured out. But the key for the Chicago Bears offense is stalling in the red zone. That will hurt any offense, but especially the Chicago Bears offense. At the moment, when you watch this Bears offense play, it's like they make everything look hard. Every yard they get is hard yards. It's never easy for the Chicago Bears offense, but once again, we knew that they were going to get into some growing pains, but it has to be better. Obviously, it was good to see Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields connect on some deep passes, but overall, they have to figure out a way when you get in the red zone, when you get those opportunities, you have to finish those drives. I think all of us know, we all understand that 12 points won't win you a lot of football games. So when you get to the red zone, you have to finish. Looking at Justin Fields' stats before I move on to the defense, he went 11 for 22, 174 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. So Justin Fields had a better day. Not great. He was running for his life. Obviously, he got sacked 6 times, so he was running for his life. And I'm going to come on here and say that, yes, I think the Chicago Bears need more playmakers. Obviously, Darnell Mooney showed up in limited fashion, 4 catches for 94 yards. But after that, Khalil Herbert had a catch for 24 yards. Trayvon Wesco had a catch for 23 yards. Cole Kmet had 3 catches for 16 yards. And Tristan Ebner had 2 catches for 8 yards. Velus Jones was only used as a punt returner, which I'll get into that a little bit later in this episode of Keek on the Mic. But Velus Jones wasn't even really used on offense. He was primarily the punt returner, so that's a little bit frustrating. But obviously, they're probably trying to get him warmed up and ramped up before they just throw him out there in offense. But here's the thing. We need Velus Jones to contribute on offense. Not only special teams, we need him on offense. So hopefully that changes next week against the Minnesota Vikings. But overall, the offense just has to execute when they get in the red zone. For the Chicago Bears defense, the first thing I want to say is Eddie Jackson is back. We had to give Eddie Jackson his kudos. He got his third interception today against the Giants, and that's his third of the year. Eddie Jackson looks really good, and I really feel that Eddie Jackson is back, and obviously it's kudos to Jaquan Brisker. Jaquan Brisker is that strong safety that we were missing, and it allows Eddie Jackson to play the way Eddie Jackson loves to play. So it's good to see Eddie Jackson back, and I really love watching him play. But overall, when you look at Daniel Jones' stats, 8 for 13, 71 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Saquon Barkley absolutely had a day. He ran all over this Chicago Bears defense. 31 rushes for 146 yards. Daniel Jones, 6 carries for 68 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground for Daniel Jones. I said this on my pregame show with Isaiah and Austin. I realized that Daniel Jones can't escape the pocket, but the guy isn't fast. When you watch the tape, Muhammad, stay your ground. Stay where you're at. You're not going to make that play on the running back, right? Stay in your position, and those plays don't happen. Obviously, missed tackling is still a big issue for the Chicago Bears defense. There's times where they don't wrap up. I believe it was a 3rd and 7, and Morrow had a clean tackle on Saquon Barkley, had him almost down, and Barkley escapes, scampers for 16 yards, and that leads to one of Daniel Jones' scrambles into the end zone for a touchdown. So the Bears lost this game off of 2 rushing touchdowns from Daniel Jones, and when you really think about that, it's absolutely unacceptable. Once again, I understand that Daniel Jones has the ability to scramble, but you cannot let that happen. Absolutely not. The tackling has to get figured out, but you cannot let a guy like Daniel Jones, that yes, he can scramble, but he's not the fastest quarterback. You can't allow a guy like that to have 2 touchdowns. But overall, I think only giving up 20 points is still a good day from the Chicago Bears defense. But once again, the offense has to do their job. Once again, if the offense doesn't stall out all the time in the red zone, this could be a totally different game. So that's my thoughts on the defense. So now my thoughts on Velus Jones. Velus Jones, once again, he wasn't used on the offense really, right? He was primarily the punt and I think kick returner. And obviously you guys saw the ending of that game. The Bears got off the field finally. They had 2 minutes left to go, and it looks like the Bears will get one final drive. Velus Jones says, "Not today, Bears fans." He muffs the punt, and that is the ball game. You can't have that mistake. I know, rookie, second-year guy, it doesn't matter. You cannot make that mistake when your team finally gets the ball back with the chance to possibly go down the field and tie this football game. You cannot have that mistake. But overall, when I look at the other returns that Velus Jones had today, it looked like he was kind of intimidated. He looked shaky back there all day, right? So obviously, I think he was nervous. It was NFL debut, but still, it's no excuse. You cannot make that error at that point in time. You can't make that error at all. But especially when you know the situation, you have to be confident back there. But let's hope that Luke Getsy, Matt Eberflus, he gets more involved in this Chicago Bears pass attack, which I think he will. I think they're just trying to ramp him up. But it wasn't the most impressive day from Velus Jones. But at the same time, we didn't get to see Velus Jones a lot as a receiver today. We saw him a lot as a punt returner. So as a punt returner, I wasn't impressed. So let's hope that changes in the next couple of weeks. Let's hope he gets more snaps as a receiver, which I expect he will. Hopefully he will be okay. But that definitely was not a good way to introduce yourself to Chicago Bears fans. So overall, we're back to the drawing board, right? Next week, we take on the 3-1 Minnesota Vikings. The Chicago Bears are still 2-2, which is better than what most people thought we would be at this time. A lot of people thought we would be 0-4 at this time. So we're 2-2. We play the Minnesota Vikings next week, and let's hope this young team can learn from the mistakes, continue to develop, and bounce back in a big way as they take on the Vikings next week. Before I let you guys go, what is your initial reaction to this Bears 20-12 loss against the New York Giants today? Let me know down below in the comment section. Before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to get all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Kick on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for all new Bears podcasts right here on Kick on the Mic. Thanks, guys. him bear down.
Riding with Country Bear.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You can go and subscribe cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't